When the woman you love steals your car and disappears with another man, you have two choices. You can cry about it, or you can make her lawyer call you. Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story that'll blow your mind. So let's dive in. My name is Kenji. When someone you love turns around and throws everything you've built together in your face, you're left with two options. Either you break down completely, or you stand up and fight back harder than they ever expected. When my girlfriend Sakura texted me that she'd found someone else and wanted nothing more to do with me, I made a move she never saw coming. And before the week was over, it was her lawyer calling me. Let me take you back to the beginning. I met Sakura through a female friend I trusted completely. This was at a point in my life when everything finally started clicking into place. I'd been grinding at the law firm for 3 solid years. Showing up early, staying late, making sure everyone knew they could count on me. That hustle, it paid off big time. The senior partner called me into his office one afternoon. After a short but intense conversation, I walked out with a promotion letter in my hand. This wasn't some overnight miracle, though. I'd earned every bit of it through countless late nights and weekends spent reviewing contracts instead of living my life. But man, it felt incredible. The promotion came with serious perks. Better salary, monthly allowance, and even a company SUV that looked like it cost more than my old apartment's yearly rent. When I parked that beauty in front of my building, it looked completely out of place. That's when it hit me. I needed to level up everything else too. I found this amazing place in a quieter neighborhood that actually matched my new lifestyle. During the move, I mentioned to my friend that I was ready to meet someone special. A week later, she said, I might know the perfect girl. She's quiet, but I think you two would be amazing together. That's how Sakura entered my life. From our very first meeting, something felt different. She was sweet, ambitious, and incredibly supportive during those early days. I'll be honest, part of why I trusted her so quickly was because of the friend who introduced us. I believed she wouldn't connect me with someone who wasn't solid. So I assumed Sakura came pre-approved. Months later, when things got serious, Sakura started hitting some financial rough patches. She'd mentioned being short on groceries that week or needing help with some bills. I didn't hesitate to help. It felt good being able to make her life easier. Then one night over dinner, she dropped a bombshell. I'm getting tired of the corporate world, she said. The 9-to-5 grind isn't for me anymore. I want something different, something on my own terms. She had this dream of running an online boutique selling fashion and lifestyle products. I encouraged her, asked about her business plan, marketing strategy, just trying to understand her vision. But here's where things got crazy. A week later, I found out she'd already quit her job. She hadn't said a single word to me beforehand. When she finally told me, I paused and looked at her carefully. What preparations did you make before quitting? She said she'd saved up some money. When I asked how much, my heart sank. That amount wouldn't last her more than a month, maybe 2 if she really stretched it. No steady income while building a business from scratch. I gently asked if she'd considered how long businesses usually take to break even, let alone profit. She brushed me off completely. Don't worry, I have a solid plan. Things will start moving in a few weeks. She sounded so confident that I actually doubted my own doubts. But deep down, I had serious reservations. I've seen what failed businesses do to people, how quickly dreams turn into crushing debt. But I didn't push. I figured she'd prove me wrong. She didn't. The online store crashed and burned almost immediately. No sales, no traffic, no momentum. The money she thought would last stretched thinner each week. Soon her rent was overdue. Then one day she called me sobbing. Her car had been repossessed. The fear and embarrassment in her eyes was heartbreaking. She was spiraling completely. I wasn't going to watch someone I loved fall apart, so I told her to move in with me. I had the space. I was already covering my expenses, so it made perfect sense. I also handed her the keys to my old car since I was using the company SUV anyway. Shortly after she moved in, I started getting weird phone calls. At first, I ignored them because they looked like spam. But one day I picked up, and this voice said, "Your girlfriend owes us money. If she doesn't pay soon, we're taking legal action." I was completely blindsided. I had no idea who they were, how they got my number, or that Sakura was even in debt. She'd never mentioned it, not even a hint. I told them I'd look into it and immediately tried calling her. No answer. I left a voicemail demanding explanations. Hours later, she texted back apologizing. She admitted the debt was real, blamed it on the business failure, said she was trying to handle it alone. Then she sent a voice note begging me to help pay it off, promising to pay me back when she figured things out. I wasn't happy about the secrecy. I would have understood if she'd come to me early, but letting it escalate to strangers calling me at work with legal threats, that rubbed me the wrong way. Still, I paid the debt. Eventually, she asked for another loan to restart the business. This time she came with an actual plan, told me what she'd learned, what she'd do differently, how she'd build slowly and steadily. I listened and gave her the money. She started using my old laptop. I didn't think twice about it. She needed it for work and I wasn't using it anyway. Over time, my apartment slowly became our place in her mind. But in reality, I was handling every single bill. She said she was focusing on rebuilding her brand and needed time to reinvest profits. I was patient. I believed in her. After months of struggle, things finally started picking up. Her website got real traffic. Orders were coming in. People were tagging her business online. For the first time, it felt like her dream might actually work. I was genuinely happy for her. I'd always planned to marry her, but I'd been waiting for the right moment. Now that her business was self-sustaining and she wasn't asking me for money constantly, it felt perfect. I didn't tell her, obviously. Quietly, I reached out to her sister and shared my plans. I asked for help choosing a setting that would catch Sakura off guard in the best way possible. Meanwhile, I ordered a custom engagement ring that took a serious chunk out of my savings. But I didn't care. I was fully invested in our future. But before any of my plans could happen, everything changed in one terrible night. We were both exhausted. Long day at work for me, packing orders all day for her. Neither of us felt like cooking, so I offered to order delivery. She usually handled that since she had the DoorDash account set up. I picked up her phone like I'd done countless times before. But while looking for the app, something caught my eye. There was Tinder sitting right there in her app drawer. My first reaction was pure confusion. I opened it and scrolled through dozens of messages. Men flirting with her, telling her how beautiful she was, asking to meet up, saying things I won't repeat here. And the worst part, she was replying. Nothing too deep, but definitely not innocent either. She was active on there regularly. I called her name. Sakura. She came into the living room, drying her hands with a kitchen towel. I just held out the phone, opened to the app. What is this? She glanced at it and shrugged. Oh, that. It's nothing. I don't meet anyone. I just like the attention sometimes. I couldn't make sense of what she was saying. I looked through the messages again. No, it didn't seem like she'd met anyone yet. But that wasn't the point. The point was, what if I hadn't found out? What if it went further next week or next month? What kind of person downloads a dating app for attention while living with a man planning to propose? That night, something inside me changed. It was this quiet disappointment that crept in and made me question everything. We had our routine. No matter how long the day was, I always kissed her goodnight and held her close before we fell asleep. But that night, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just lay there feeling hurt, not knowing how to pretend anymore. The next few days felt like walking through a minefield. Sakura started acting completely different, like she was looking for reasons to fight. She'd snap about what time I got home, question why I hadn't taken out the trash, complain that I didn't notice groceries she bought. These things had happened before, but now they came with this edge I'd never seen in her. I started wondering if she was trying to make me the bad guy to make herself feel better about what she'd done. Maybe if I looked like the problem, she could sleep better at night. When I tried talking to her, I explained that saying the app was just for harmless attention didn't make it less of a betrayal. I told her that if she needed validation from strangers, we had bigger issues. That's when she flipped it on me. She called me controlling, said I was too rigid and insecure. She made it seem like I was the one who'd crossed the line. One evening, we had a massive fight. It started like the others, but when things got heated, She grabbed her purse and keys and walked out. I sat on the couch thinking she'd cool off and come back like usual. But hours dragged on, and the silence stretched longer. Around midnight, I sent a simple text. "Where are you?" No reply. I stayed up checking my phone every few minutes, trying not to jump to conclusions. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a message from her. "I found someone else. I want nothing more to do with you. Don't call or text me again." My stomach dropped. At first, I felt this wave of pure rage. Had she been cheating this whole time? Was this guy around when I was clearing her debts and getting her back on her feet? Or was this just her way of twisting the knife? I felt every emotion at once, but I didn't let it control me. Instead of blowing up her phone or demanding answers, I typed 3 words: "As you wish." That was it. I didn't have energy to argue with someone who'd already moved on. I came home from work later that day and stepped into my apartment. It was obvious she'd been there while I was at the office. She'd packed everything she owned, and some of my things too. She left with the car I'd lent her, the laptop she was using, gone. Even electronics and household items I'd bought myself had vanished. That's when it really hit me. Her message wasn't a bluff. This wasn't temporary. She meant every word. And in that moment, I was done being the nice guy. I picked up my phone and texted my lawyer. "We need to talk first thing tomorrow. If she wants to end things like this, she's going to learn I'm not someone you can just walk over and forget. Not without consequences." The next morning, I walked into my lawyer's office and laid out everything. The car, the laptop, the debt trail tied to my bank account. I told him plainly, I want to recover everything. I worked hard for everything I gave her. If she thinks she can leave like that and keep it all, she has another thing coming. He listened, took notes, and began drafting a formal letter demanding immediate return of the car and laptop, plus repayment of all outstanding debts. It clearly stated that refusal would result in legal action. I reviewed it, signed off, and waited. Nothing. She didn't respond, not even an acknowledgement that she'd received it. Days passed. My lawyer followed up once. Still no answer. She was either ignoring it because she thought I wouldn't follow through, or because she believed I had no backbone. That's when we filed a formal complaint with the court. The court issued a summons, and soon I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I picked up thinking it was work-related. The voice introduced himself as her lawyer, already trying to get ahead of the situation. His exact words: "We need to discuss this situation. You can't just take everything." I took a breath and replied, "Actually, I can and I will. In fact, I intend to take everything that's legally mine, and if possible, more. If you want to talk further, speak to my lawyer." Then I hung up. From that moment, everything went through legal channels. Court dates were set, documents submitted, and to her surprise, I had all the receipts. Literally, proof of ownership for the car, purchase receipts for the laptop, text messages where she acknowledged her debts and promised repayment, bank statements showing every transfer. My lawyer said, "You've got a solid case. Don't budge." That's when Sakura tried to shift the tone. She reached out through her lawyer asking if we could settle privately. Suddenly, the same person who walked out like I was disposable wanted to negotiate. I told her she could return everything and reimburse me for every dime I'd spent clearing her debts. And since she'd ignored the letter and forced me to take the legal route, she could also cover my legal fees, or we'd proceed with the case. Eventually, she returned the car and laptop. But when it came to the money, she said her business wasn't doing well and asked for time. She even tried appealing to my emotions, saying she just needed breathing room. I didn't argue. I told my lawyer to continue with court proceedings. The judge eventually set up a structured payment plan she'd have to stick to. By the time court finalized everything, I wasn't even angry anymore. Sakura made the first payment on time. I'll give her that. A small part of me wondered if she'd follow through with the whole arrangement. Either way, I kept my distance and let the legal process run its course. But then the second month rolled around. I was at my desk wrapping up paperwork when her name popped up on my phone. I paused, wondering what it could be. It was a voice note. She was trying to sound warm again, saying she was sorry, that she regretted how she'd ended things. Maybe we don't have to be enemies. Can we at least be friends? She said the legal stuff made her feel cold and distant, like we were strangers now. I listened quietly. It was surreal hearing her try to pretend like the damage was just a bad breakup. I didn't respond with anger. I just texted back, "Please just focus on paying what you owe." No explanations needed. When I needed those explanations, you stayed silent. She didn't stop. Over the next few days, more messages came. She started bringing up old memories, trying to pull me back emotionally, as if reminding me of good times would erase how she'd left me. But I was tired. Tired of being used. Tired of being someone's emotional safety net when things didn't work out with their plan B. I didn't even have energy to argue anymore. I just wanted this chapter closed. So I typed one final message. All future communication should go through my lawyer. That's where this ends. And I meant it. Now I'm focused on moving forward, because I finally understand that protecting your peace sometimes means letting people deal with the consequences of their own decisions. I was a supportive partner once, but now I'm a man who knows what he deserves and what he no longer owes anyone.